Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Capricorn energy. And like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row kind of referred to as high vibe Capricorn energy. The bottom row a more worldly, shadowy energy, because we all have our dualistic nature and we have to make decisions in our life. And the top row could represent maybe how we are living our life, and the bottom row can just kind of represent some of the fears and insecurities we all can deal with. Sometimes as we're moving forward, we have to, we're always going to have to deal with more shadowy people because it exists in the world. So besides dealing with our own shadow nature, it's dealing with other shadowy people. So, that can represent shadowy people in our life. The bottom row can also represent kind of our past. So kind of covers a lot, but there's always going to be some people who are, you know, life is kind of about growing up and maturing yourself and learning lessons in life, tempering your more egoic nature, which can be your immature nature, prideful nature, self-indulgent nature, full of yourself nature, lazy nature. And, those kind of people are always going to exist. And just like we're moving forward at kind of whatever maturity level we're at, other people that we might feel kind of got some shadowy traits and characteristics, they in turn can be more high vibe than some other people in their life, because it's just all about, you know, your emotional maturity level in a way. And the truth of the matter is there are some people in the world that are very shadowy, and we need to see the truth of that. And if we're willing to see the truth within ourselves of kind of what manipulates us to maybe make us not listen to our intuition and have hope and faith and belief in love, we can repeat an old pattern. We in turn can get in relationship with people who are repeating old patterns, because we have to learn the lesson we're meant to learn in order to move forward in life differently. So, well, in the top row, we have the reason the reading came out is because of the Two of Swords, which is Libra energy, which is represented by the scales of justice, of what we think is just and fair. And at one point in time in our life, we could have lived our life a certain way. And was it just and fair in a way for us to live our life that way? Yeah, because that's the emotional maturity level we were at, is how we viewed life. It was reflective of the person that we were at that point in time. But up here we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Emperor, and the Emperor can talk about kind of growing and maturing yourself. And if we listen to our intuition, that if I keep repeating certain patterns or living my life a certain way, I'm not going to grow to my full potential. And why might we not do that? Is because of our fears, our insecurities, our self-limiting beliefs, stepping out of our comfort zone. And so then we have to work through those issues and kind of deal with the truth of them and listen to our intuition. That's what like high vibe Two of Swords can talk about. And I think we were given our intuition. The Ace of Pentacles can be like the truth, but it can also be like a gift. We were given our intuition, I think, as a gift to help us navigate in this world. Just like we're part of the animal kingdom, and other animals in the animal kingdom have their unique things. But we as human beings, we have free will, and we can decide to align with, down here, the reason for the bottom row's reading is the Nine of Pentacles, which can just kind of represent our more worldly nature because it's earth sign energy, which we all tap into our more worldly nature. And we could think, no, 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 I don't have to listen to my intuition. No, I think I know best. And then we'll kind of not listen to our intuition, and we'll kind of go about things and kind of ignore our intuition. And I think our intuition was given to us. It's not like it's screaming in our face or in our ear or in our head all the time. But we've probably all had those experiences in our life where we've been at some stage of our life where we were thinking of doing something or started to do something, and our intuition was kind of like, you shouldn't do this, you should stop this, this isn't going to work out the way you think, don't go that way, go this way, but we went that way anyway. And I think the more we learn these lessons, which the Nine of Pentacles can also talk about, because the Ace of Pentacles can be these lessons that we've learned, the more lessons that we learn in life, and the more, you know, we learn from our mistakes and get out of our ego and are willing to learn the lessons and grow up and mature ourselves, we start to listen more to our intuition. Because the thing in the world is, the masculine figures can represent how people are presenting themselves in the world, and people can present themselves in the world. I view this as Libra, and I view that as Aries, fire sign energy, air sign energy. We can all kind of be more initially motivated, thinking we're pretty smart, and pride comes before the fall. So we kind of think we're the boss and we know best, and we tend to kind of maybe live a little bit more from our mind than our heart. And we have these things that we want to manifest in the world, and these things we want to go invest our time, energy, and effort into. And there can be a lot of things we want to go invest time and energy and effort into in the world that we think are just and fair. And we got some lessons to learn in life, and we can go invest in those things and those ways of living life and things that we think are just and fair and think we're just and fair. And, you know, uh, later we might kind of realize that maybe we weren't so smart and maybe we had some lessons learned. But people can present themselves, and we can be drawn and attracted, whether we're male or female. The feminine figures, can talk about how we think and feel. So emotionally, everyone, male and females, can be, we want justice in the world, and we're inspired and we're attracted to these things of the world, and we're pretty sure that those things will make us happy. And then we can meet people, whether they're male or female, and they could seem like just and fair people, stable people, maybe insightful or mature, and we could be attracted to them. And it could be that there's certain things we like to invest our time, energy, and effort into that we all kind of think are just and fair and that we enjoy doing, right? So we're going to go on this journey, at whatever stage of life we're at, investing in all these different people in the world, going on these different adventures, kind of. And part of it is all for us to help get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And as we come in contact with all these different people, it helps us in our Two of Swords energy of ourself to, do I think this is just and fair? Do I think that's just and fair? Do I like this? Don't I like this? Is this my truth? Isn't this my truth? And we've got a lot of lessons to learn. So we go on this journey. And hopefully we are willing to admit, maybe, when we thought something was just and fair and it did not work out the way we thought it would. And emotionally, we could have felt backstabbed and betrayed. We could have done some things that emotionally, we backstabbed and betrayed ourselves, and we made a wrong direction. Are we willing to get out of our ego and realize I shouldn't do that again? And if I meet some people who I could have thought were just and fair, and then they do things that aren't just and fair, am I willing to see the truth of it? Or because I might be more because I'm attracted to them, or because of these things of the world that I want to manifest, will I, because again, part of being a human being is, we want to be in friendships and relationships with people, and we want to, probably have a place of employment or a career. And, you know, are we willing to, are we so kind of defensive or prideful or full of ourselves or stubborn that we're unwilling to learn lessons in life? If we invest in some people and they show us they're not just and fair, or they like to live completely more from their mind than their heart, so if someone lives their life, if their truth is, I live more from my mind than my heart, completely, I, in my more worldly nature, I have decided that's my truth. High vibe energy and high vibe Libra, and this is more shadowy Libra energy, and in our Capricorn energy of what we think is just and fair, some people are more balanced within themselves. We might meet some people and we think they seem more mature and balanced, you know, and then we could find out that their idea of what they think is just and fair is really maybe very different than what we think is just and fair. Maybe very much about themselves. Maybe I view the King of Swords can be a person's self protective, defensive nature. Um, what's underneath the Nine of Pentacles? Oh, the Sun. Okay. So high vibe energy is willing to admit we're fallible human beings who make mistakes and we got a lot of lessons to learn. And the Sun can talk about being willing to admit the truth and be illuminated to the truth. The Sun is also Leo energy, which can represent this dualistic nature within ourself of our ego nature. Am I more aligned with my worldly egoic nature, my defensive nature, my stubborn nature, my prideful nature, my immature nature, my self indulgent nature? It has to be my way or the highway, Or am I willing to get out of my more egoic nature, learn lessons in life, and hopefully grow and mature myself, and then get more balance within myself? I can stay tipped out of balance where I can indulge poor behavior in myself and others, or I can quit indulging poor behavior within myself, grow up and mature myself. And if there's certain ways of being that stop me from the Page of Pentacles, can talk about being a student of life and love myself. We all can kind of have that more. The pages can represent our more hopeful, believing nature or our more immature nature. Am I unwilling to be a student of life? Am I unwilling? The difference between the one pentacle and the Nine of Pentacles is the Eight of Pentacles, which is about putting in work and effort. Am I so defensive or prideful or full of myself? And we could know people like that, so we could use a lot of examples, but sometimes the big extreme ones are kind of the most we can all kind of relate to, right? It takes work and effort. We could have at one time, why would people be so defensive? High vibe Leo is being more authentic and loving and warm and encouraging and supportive to yourself and to others, being more balanced within ourselves. Why would we be so tipped out of balance? Maybe because at one time we had been more hopeful and believing, and maybe many times over and over and over in the Ten of Swords, um, we were disappointed. Well, we have the free will to decide that's it, I'm done. No longer willing to be a student of life. The Strength card and the Sun card are both Leo energy. I've given up on having hope and faith and belief in myself or in others or in love. And now I'm aligning with my more immature worldly nature, and I'm going to invest in my ego. and my defensive nature. And from now on, in the Eight of Cups, it's going to be more about me indulging myself in a relationship. I'm not doing love anymore. I could get hurt doing love. I tried to do love before, it didn't work out. I could have grown up with people who I tried to offer love to, and those people could have walked away from me. Those people could have been more stubborn, more about themselves, more manipulative, more materialistically motivated, more self-indulgent. Shadowy energy can be people who got some lessons learned. They're bossy, controlling, manipulative, prideful, egotistical, backstabbing, hurtful, petty, envious, jealous, lazy, controlling. Well, we all, to different degrees, have met people like that. And when it happens, uh, we can kind of get in our ego about it, right? Why are those people acting like that? Well, we could make the choice to quit investing in those people when people show us they act like that, and kind of stand up for ourselves. I'm not going to. And so, for example, that was something that we had the free will choice to do when we were young, and we always kind of have to deal with this in our life. And some people are dealing with it in their life right now. And that can be something in our shadow nature of dealing with other people in the world who have free will to choose to act whatever way they want to act. And some people are kind of my way or the highway people. I am unwilling to be a student of life. I am unwilling to temper my ego. I want to be indulged. You are my friend. You are in a relationship with me. You're a family member. I work with you. You should indulge me. Well, high vibe people have the free will to say, shoot, I don't understand why these people are acting like this, but I have learned enough lessons in life and have probably dealt with enough people in life. I would like to maybe work with them cooperatively, but I can't make them. If they want to indulge in their ego nature and their more self indulgent nature and turn their back on working together with people more in truth and love, because High Vibe Virgo is about truth and kind of emotional maturity, you know, we can feel backstabbed. We can feel like, gee, I made an offer. The pages can be, I made a small gesture, like to get to know people. And then some people choose to act like that. Well, I can get my ego about it and I can quit trying to get to know people or making gestures towards people, or I can just decide I'm not going to make an offer to those people anymore. I am done. I have decided I am done making an offer to people in my life who've shown me they harness this energy in a more shadowy way. And I want justice in the world. I want to be in more emotionally mature, loving, nurturing relationships. And I'm not going to let go of my more hopeful, believing nature. I just let go of them. And I'm not going to invest in my ego and my defensive nature and my competitive nature or whatever. I'm not going to stay in my ego about it. I'm going in truth and love, because in high vibe, the pentacle also would be about you realize that love is the answer. I'm going to offer love to myself, and I also view high vibe Leo as giving yourself the things that you wish other people would have given you. And just accept the truth and deal with the truth that there's some people in the world that are more defensive. They're at their stage of life. If everybody had worked through their past pain and heartbreak, their self-limiting beliefs, their defensive nature, their issues in life that have made them be more defensive, they would be more just and fair and authentic and loving and work together with people more cooperatively. But everybody in the world has their issues. And the 10 of Swords is Gemini energy. Everybody has the free will to live their life whatever way they want, and in their own Libra energy of self, they think it's just and fair. And you could know people that are younger than you, older than you, same age as you, at whatever emotional maturity level you're at. And there's always going to be other people, no matter what age that they could be, that can be more bossy, controlling, hurtful, unkind, immature, prideful, egotistical, self indulgent, stubborn. And they got a lot of life lessons to learn. And the more we go through life and kind of meet some people like that, we get out of our ego and I accept that you have free will. You have the free will to choose to act and behave any way you want. You're just going to face the consequences in life of how other people choose to interact with you and deal with you and what kind of circumstances that gets you in your life. High vibe people, it's like, I accept the truth. Okay, you're defensive. Okay, and sometimes it can be someone that we could have viewed as more just and fair. These are both two feminine figures. Yeah, that definitely looks feminine. And the feminine, again, can just be how people think and feel. Some people can like to be hurtful and unkind. It's like a false sense of empowerment. And sometimes people who are kind of shadowy, if they see someone who seems, the Eight of Cups, can talk about people who are more independent. They're not trying to caught up in the illusion of themselves or the world and trying to confuse people about the truth of who they are, because they have healed and grown and matured themselves. So they are kind of more independent, and they're maybe more emotionally mature and have learned some more lessons in life, and they've kind of freed themselves from their more shadowy ways of being. So they are more authentic and loving and giving and nurturing. Well, some other people in the world don't like it, you know, because they had the free will to do that too, and they didn't. But you did. And then that kind of gets them in their ego, because, of course, they like to view themselves as an emotionally mature, independent, balanced, loving, uh, insightful, kind of nurturing person. And so long as they kind of are hanging around people who are kind of at whatever emotional maturity level they could be at, they do, and they can be those types of people in people's lives, right? And but what if someone comes along who seems to be more authentic or more loving or more nurturing, or um, has more things about them? It could be talent, skills, education, uh, things that can get people in their ego. You're more attractive. You could, whatever skill, you could sing, you could paint, you could be whatever, we can imagine all the different things that different people can have. And some people, it really kind of gets them in their ego about it. And just to, because they maybe don't want to admit that they're in their ego or jealous or envious or like to manipulate people or control people. And if you're more independent, and kind of the Nine of Pentacles can be like, know your worth and value, and are less in your ego and do try to work with people more cooperatively, they can do it just to try to hurt you, make you feel bad. The bad thing is, it's a poor way to feel powerful. It's like doing something and having this ego boost, like this balloon rising in the air. But the way the balloon of ego stays up in the air is so long as the other people maybe move away from them and keep feeling backstabbed and keep staying in their ego about it. And if the other people say, you know what, people can throw me under the bus, people can kick me to the curb, and I just see the truth that you're not very just and fair and loving people, and you're not who I thought you were, and I'm willing to accept the truth of it, but I'm not going to take responsibility for other people's actions. They have to take responsibility for their own actions. And if I know I acted in truth and love, and I wasn't trying to hurt anyone or be manipulative or controlling or whatever, then I can be proud of myself. And I'm not going to, the Eight of Cups moves away from the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Cups can be like emotional confusion. I'm not going to stay confused about the truth. Everybody had the free will to invest in tempering their ego nature, or their competitive nature, or their prideful nature, or their defensive nature, to work together with people, become more independent of their more immature nature, whatever it is, and work together with people more cooperatively in a more just and fair way. And I know how to offer myself love and compassion and accept the truth that people have free will. And, there could be someone that you could have worked with. It could have been a parent, it could have been a relative, it could have been a neighbor, it could have been someone you work with, it could have been someone you wanted to marry, someone you did marry. Sometimes we can get along in a relationship and we can be friends with people for quite a long time and things can go pretty well. People aren't making a choice not to like sabotage the relationship. And we can get along for quite a long time. But maybe if one person, Virgo energy again in the Nine of Pentacles, can talk about doing some inner work to free yourself from some things that maybe used to manipulate you, um, painful things in your past, uh, your more immature nature, just growing up and maturing yourself, fears and insecurities. If one person does that work within themselves, and it can happen in all these different situations, it can happen in workplaces, friendships, family dynamics, relationships. If one person kind of becomes independent of those things, they did kind of learn to emotionally offer love to those situations and to themselves to free themselves so that those things don't keep manipulating them and stopping them from being free of it, able to let it go. I've kind of made peace with it. Well, then some other people cannot like that because, like, well, you don't seem to be manipulated by the things you maybe used to be manipulated by. And that could have been part of the reason why it was kind of a common denominator that we had in common, maybe being in a relationship with each other. And it could have been just that we were more codependent, is what the pages can talk about. And we were kind of looking for someone to be a loving, nurturing person to us. And we could have been loving and nurturing people to each other. But some people thought that we were just going to keep moving forward in that way, like forever, because they maybe never planned to invest time, energy, and effort to shed light on some of those things that manipulate them. And they didn't think you would either. So then you could happily move forward in the friendship or relationship or the workplace, just continuing to do things the way you'd always done them. And if it was more about being codependent, they were going to be codependent on you. you were going to be codependent on them. Everybody, or if it was more, we're more aligned with and invested in our more worldly egoic nature, that is kind of more what drives us, why we get in a relationship, stay in a relationship. It's more to be in a relationship because we want to be in a relationship. It's more for maybe the status, the ego, the image, and it might be I don't ever want to face my fears to not make my life about more about those things and getting in relationships and staying in relationships more for those reasons. And someone else could have worked through where they did kind of get more balanced. And that can be, do I want to be in relationships and have a job and have friends and stuff like that? Yeah. But it kind of seems like it might be more for these reasons of the world or for fear or out of codependency or because I haven't learned to love myself and I get in more codependent relationships or something. And then when we get in relationships with people like that, they like us being in that energy and being in a relationship with them for those reasons, because those could be the exact same reasons they get in a relationship. And sometimes some people could have gotten in a relationship. Everybody had some growing and maturing to do, and then we can just kind of grow and mature and we're kind of ready to move forward in life differently, be a little more bold and brave and confident and step out of our comfort zone. And the other people are like, I don't want to step out of my comfort zone. I thought we were going to keep doing this. And it's like, well, I'm kind of ready to move forward in life differently. I have some, you know, and again, somebody kind of either emotionally grew and matured themselves, became more independent of some things that used to manipulate them, which can even be their defensive nature, living more from their mind than their heart. Maybe at different stages of our life, we kind of indulge ourselves in different ways that um, other people in our life could think we're kind of indulging ourselves in immature ways, but that's where we were at life and we did. And so at whatever level of stage of life that we're at, that to a degree we kind of indulge ourselves in maybe some more self-indulgent or immature or prideful or egoic or materialistic or whatever ways of being, there can come a time where some of those things that I used to enjoy, um you know, I don't really enjoy indulging in those things that much anymore. And I kind of want to invest in some other things. And, maybe instead of doing this every Friday and Saturday, maybe I'd rather start to do this. And then some people in our life don't like it because, well, what do you think? You're better than me. And why aren't you doing this? And it's like, and with some people in our life, it's not a big deal. It's like, oh, yeah, I didn't, no, I still like doing this. And you're like, I know. And, I used to, you know, might hang out here and there and do this, but I have these other things that I want to kind of invest in. And sometimes it can just be the King and Queen of Pentacles is the only married suit of the deck. Maybe some people are more wanting to get married, being more emotionally mature or invested relationships. Some other people don't. Um, some people might want to invest more in their career or putting in work and effort to gain more skills, talent, or education in that way, and some other people don't. And then it can kind of be like we're not on the same page. But I guess as a general overview, that could cover a lot of people in your life. But I guess since most people, well, romantic or family, um, we could have been afraid of being more independent because high vibe energy is about being independent. We could have been more codependent, kind of. We could have gotten in relationships more, maybe for these things we wanted to manifest in the world that we were inspired by. But if we were more motivated by love, we could have kind of gotten in some mismatched relationships where one person is more defensive to tempering their ego to invest in love, because that does require them for them to do that work within themselves to figure out why they're defensive to love and why they choose to live from their more self-protective, self-defensive nature. And some people, that is how they view life, that, you know, isn't that it? Aren't people who are more defensive to love get in relationships with people who are more loving? That seems like counterpart, right? And I think we can be drawn and attracted to people because we have that difference. We have a lot of lessons learned from each other. But if people can't come to kind of a compromise, and if the people who are more tempered in their ego nature to be willing to do love, you know, eventually the Eight of Cups moves away from the Seven of Cups, which is Scorpio energy, where, you know, there can be a lot of things we like about a job, a friendship, a relationship, but we feel like it's just a little more emotionally shallow and superficial, and it is more for either these things we indulge in or what we make our life about. And high vibe people either want a more deep, meaningful relationship, or they're inspired to keep facing their fears and moving forward in a way that could be really out of some people's comfort zone. And it would require them to. The Queen of Pentacles is Taurus energy, which can be, you know, everybody has this way of viewing life, and they kind of had their idea of what they thought would be an emotionally fulfilling life, their idea of the dream life. And say somebody is more, well, this is going to require us to move. It's like, move? I never ever planned to move from this town or this state or this country, you know, and sometimes it's just as simple as things like that. And sometimes it's worse. And what can really be hard is sometimes we don't realize how defensive some people are. And in when we were in a Seven of Cups energy, we were kind of caught up in the illusion of people. And then we might not really want to see the truth because we want the job, the friendship, or the relationship to work out. So, shadowy energy in the Two of Swords can be that we kind of don't want to see the truth. And for a long time, we can not see the truth. Because again, some people can wear really good false masks. And we think they are more inspired by love. They are more just and fair. Because they could have created the illusion that they were, and that they weren't more immature, and they weren't more controlling, and they weren't more manipulative. And then as the relationship goes on, or the job, whatever it is, you know, when you're starting to work through your own issues and you're kind of ready to move forward a little differently, wanting to become independent of maybe some old ways of being, because again, too, relationships are supposed to grow and mature over time. And relationships are to become, if it's romantic, a more deep, meaningful relationship, which is high vibe Leo. Shadowy Leo is that we keep staying in our ego and our defensive nature. And while some people work through some of those issues to be willing to be more open to a more deep, meaningful relationship, and they maybe have done some work within themselves where they have kind of emotionally grown and matured themselves, they could find that the other people, they have no interest in doing that. I am unwilling to be a student of life. And that's when, you know, it's like people being unwilling to change at all, inflexible. Nope, I have my way of doing it, living my life. You might have had some things you needed to change, but I don't have anything I need to change. I might think I'm a very just and fair person. You should feel privileged to be in a relationship with me. You know, and some people, just because they have a shadowy Taurus relationship, is that people who think if I have a certain status or image or whatever, I think I should be more indulged in a relationship, and like therefore I don't really have to change. And if you don't like it, you can go, and I'm sure I will find someone else who will be willing to be in a relationship with me. And that kind of also shows you they're not a very deep person. Apparently, shadowy Scorpio is like life's just about death, sex, and taxes. I was kind of tempering my ego just even being in a relationship with you. And I might have presented myself as more just and fair, but I'm not. It's really more just about me. And I do indulge my more immature nature. And there too, if you start to see through the illusion of people, and if some of you are in a relationship with a narcissist, which is like shadowy Scorpio, and anybody can harness that. Don't be fearful of Scorpio, because people who are Scorpio sun sign, because high vibe Scorpio is about deep, meaningful relationships. But some people in their Scorpio energy of themselves, they are not willing to connect in with being interested in investing in their more hopeful, believing, loving nature. You know, they keep that aspect kind of buried beneath the surface, turn their back on it. And it is kind of more about using their words, their emotions, their sexuality, their assets, their resources, and all those things to try to create an illusion that they might be more motivated by love, but really they're kind of more motivated about it being about them. And if it, so long as people buy into the illusion of who they are and are willing to, haven't seen through the illusion, keep investing in the relationship, so long as it works for them and it's good for their ego and their image and their status, it works. But if you ever start to kind of heal or grow or mature yourself and you want to move forward in life a little differently, they're unwilling. I will not do life differently. And if you're not willing to, if you're starting to see through the illusion and see that I am kind of more immature and unwilling to temper my ego, and that it really is more about me and my way or the highway, well, then some of those people will backstab you because you invested in doing what they don't do. And you invested in being willing to be a student of life, heal and grow, mature yourself, love and believe in yourself, starting to listen to your intuition instead of maybe your fear, your insecurity, or codependency, wanting a more just and fair and balanced relationship, inspired, fire sign energy is about inspired by truth and love more than, and a balance of them. Would I like this relationship to work? Yeah, if we can work together in a more balanced way, inspired more by being more authentic, being more maybe emotionally mature, seeing what things we should maybe walk away from. Both of us could have things and ways of being that the relationship would benefit if we were willing to quit indulging in some of those ways of thinking or behaving or etc., right? And the other people are like, there's nothing I want to walk away from. And it maybe would require me to emotionally grow and mature myself. And I'm not willing to do that. Or maybe connect in with my more, this is a feminine figure. So that can mean whether the people are male or female, emotionally, they're more invested in kind of indulging their more immature nature, worldly nature on top of it, of thinking they should be indulged in a relationship, basically, or it's more about these things of the world. That's my truth. I am not willing to emotionally invest more in myself or in relationships. So some people left those relationships, became independent of it to go have a new beginning. They listened to their intuition, their idea of what's just and fair, kind of what they find more emotionally fulfilling. Again, could be in to be in relationships more for the status, the image, and uh indulging in their life in those things, or making their life about those things, or whatever it is they like to indulge in to make themselves feel better. And they're just kind of tipped out of balance. And some other people got more balance within themselves. I do want some of these things of the world, but I'm not willing to sacrifice myself, basically, because Aries energy is about the self. And again, some people don't want you to be more independent, don't want you to, like, you're supposed to give up your dreams to be in a relationship with them. You're not supposed to invest in your own unique talent, skills, and interest or be more independent, you know? I was like, I'm not willing to give up my dreams and investing in myself and loving myself and maintaining balance within myself. And sometimes people can do, again, hurtful and unkind things to try to throw you out of balance, and do unjust, unfair things that are immature or manipulative in order to stop you from listening to your intuition and investing in yourself because they want you to come back and invest more in them and make it more about them. You can't invest in yourself. You can't love yourself. You can't believe in yourself. You're supposed to make your life maybe more all about me or make it about these things. I don't want you to be illuminated to the truth because I don't want to see the truth that it really should be about. Love is to be just and fair. You are supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. You are supposed to be a good leader. High Vibe Emperor is about being having learned lessons in all four suits of the deck. The King of Cups and the Queen of Cups, the King and Queen of Pentacles, the King and Queen of Wands, the King and Queen of Cups. To realize that all four, because we have all four of those elements within us, they're equally important. But some people don't think some are less important than others. And so, and we go on this journey in life and we could, oh my gosh, but I love them. And we let our heart run our life. And the other three aspects of our life kind of go in the toilet. But I love them. Or we can get so self protective and self defensive that we're going to extremes, living more from our mind and our self protective nature, that, we're not working together with people that are loving and encouraging and supportive because we're so defensive of being hurt, that those aspects of our life go in the toilet. Or we make our life so much about the world, we make those things so important that other people who are more balanced in our life don't want to be in a relationship with us. If we're so self-indulgent in our lust and our greed or immaturity, other people don't. So hopefully some people learn all those lessons. Some people harness this energy in a high vibe way, and it's like, I'm not going to invest in people who want me to indulge them or make my life more about indulging in these things of the world or making my life all about these things of the world. I want balance. And if I have tempered my ego and I am being authentic and I have things that I was willing to maybe not indulge in ways of being and tempering my ego to not be bossy, controlling, immature, manipulative, I want to work together with other people who are in that energy. And then we communicate our truth, maybe over and over and over. And if we keep seeing over and over and over, nothing ever changes. We can't keep staying stuck in denial any longer. And we've probably done some work within ourselves thinking about, do I love and believe in myself to go get a different job or find a different friend or put myself out there and maybe find a different relationship? Am I willing to invest in myself and listen to my intuition? And some people did. And then we have two cards up here not showing themselves. The Ace of Swords and the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is Libra energy again. And it's like, we could have had a way of viewing the world and kind of a way that we viewed relationships. And again, we all could have been at one time more fired up about these things of the world that were really important to us or that we wanted to manifest or we wanted to indulge in, right? But we could have realized that maybe some of these things that we made really important in our life. And the world can tell us, oh, yeah, you should do that. No, if you do this and if you act like this and you hang around these people and you dress like this and you have this much money or blah, 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 you'll be happy. And we could have done all of that. And it seemed like we had justice in the world, but we weren't really kind of connecting in with our own truth. It's like, okay, I did all those things. I have all those things. Looks like I have like this great life, but is it even my truth? High vibe Leo, am I living my more authentic life? Or did I go get in a career field that I don't even like, but people said that's what I should do? Don't go do what you like. You might not make enough money. You should do this. That makes practical, logical sense. And then you're in a job or a career field that you hate and you hate going to it every day, or you invest in certain things or certain people because somewhere you got the impression that's what you should do, but then you feel like you are having to indulge people or, I don't know, participate in things that you don't. It's really not even your truth. It might all look like good by worldly standards. Other people might like you being there and want to invest in you, but, are you, it's your life. Are you living your authentic life and investing your time, energy, and effort into things that you really enjoy, or are you investing in doing things and investing in activities and whatever that aren't even really things that you enjoy or like, but because we want maybe people to be in friendship with us or in relationship with us, and maybe we'd be afraid that if we didn't do those things, well, the whole thing is, if we go invest in our truth and listen to our intuition, eventually we will find people, especially if we go invest in things that really do kind of more motivate and inspire us. We probably find other people that are motivated and inspired and like and enjoy those things also. For some people it could be difficult because they could have people in their life, well, if you don't live your life like this, or you don't do what we do, or are more independent, or go live your authentic life, um, we won't invest in you anymore. Well, that would be some people who are trying to manipulate and control you, and um, you should live life like they live life. It's like, I let you live your life. I don't try to manipulate and control you and tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. You have your things you enjoy and people you enjoy and activities you enjoy. High vibe people are not, they're maintaining balance. I am not going investing in things to extremes and driving my life off into the ditch. I want justice in my life. And some of the things that I might like to invest in and people I might like to invest in, other people might not understand it. Well, just like you might go bowling 5 days a week and I go bowling once a year. I'm good. I might even cut out that one day a year, you know? But, or you should act like this and you should attend these things and you should go to these events and you shouldn't go to those things and you shouldn't attend those events. It can be shadowy Libra energy, which anyone can have in them, is kind of a, you need to maintain a certain image in the world, and that's our public politician persona. You need people to view you a certain way. The most important thing is to invest in having a certain status and image in the world. It's like, you know what, I'm going to let you and other people who are like that all hang out and live your life like that. High vibe energy is about being free to live your authentic life from love, treating other people the way you like to be treated, treating people in a just and fair way, being loving and encouraging, investing in things that you enjoy, and let the world judge away. That's part of getting out of the illusion, because some people, it's kind of like, oh, well, I wouldn't go there unless I see those other people there. Well, then I can go there. And isn't it kind of weird how if certain people are there, then it all makes it okay? But if you were to go there, oh, well, yes, I saw that person there. It's like, but how come if so and so is there, then it's okay? Well, if they go there, then that's okay. And then you could go there. It's like, who made them God and what? Who are the people who like things staying the same? People who have fear of being different or being independent. Uh, People who are more, they benefit from it staying the same. Who doesn't like it staying the same? People who don't benefit from it staying the same. And the whole thing is, the world's going to judge you based on the type of person they are. So it's like, the people who are less judgmental and they live their life, and you know oh god, I don't want to waste time talking about it, but it can drive you nuts with examples about people that people can do to try to, like, oh my gosh, it's like, did you go to drive to town to go shopping how many times? And yet they'll drive x amount of miles to go to a big grocery store x miles away, and they hardly buy a thing. I don't know. It's just, but if they just think they're the judge and the jury, it's like, you know what? You can think whatever the hell you want to think. And if you're that type of person, I really don't care. Because it really wouldn't matter what I do. You can't please some people. The people who are critical and judgmental are going to be critical and judgmental anyway. The people who are more balanced, more just, more fair, oh, that looks fun. I hope they had fun, are going to be those type of people. I'm going to get out of the illusion. I'm going to go live my authentic life, and the world is going to judge away no matter what type of person, depending on the type of person they are. I'm going to go live my authentic life from truth and love, maintaining balance in my life, not doing anything scandalous or hurting people. I'm just living my life, not conforming to certain people's rules. And some of those people, that's also shadowy Taurus, where some people can, versus high vibe Taurus, it's all these rules and regulations, all these invisible rules and regulations, and oh, you can't do that, or you couldn't wear that. Oh, well, now everybody else is wearing that. Now you can wear it. Isn't that funny? Last week I couldn't wear that. Well, last week everybody else wasn't doing it. Oh, okay. Anyway, it can be sad and it can be heartbreaking, but you are willing to deal with the truth, and the truth is that wasn't your truth. And if we have the Two of Swords and we have the One Sword, we get to the Three of Swords. Something was making you feel stuck, and you could have been dealing with some other people who can't make a decision. uh that's also kind of like people in their Libra energy of themselves, just can't make a decision, can't pick a path, don't know what their truth is, don't want to listen to their intuition, get all caught up in their head, and instead they make decisions more out of defensiveness or ego or immaturity, and then they could go indulge themselves to make themselves feel better. And it's like, I can't keep staying in relationships with people who want to live in denial. And whatever the truth is, I saw the truth. And either the way I was living my life or the people I was aligning with, it was keeping me stuck, and I don't want to stay stuck, or it was hurting me. And it wasn't emotionally fulfilling. And I don't think it was really loving and encouraging to myself, or the people I was in relationship with weren't being more authentic, weren't being loving and nurturing, tried to confuse me about the truth. And I'm no longer willing to stay in denial. I wish you peace. You live your life the way you want. I love myself enough to become independent of you. And then you do this work within yourself to give yourself the things you wish other people would have given you. You offer truth and love to it. That helps you heal, helps you get unstuck. And that's what some people don't know you did. Because people who are more shadowy could take action more out of pride and ego, and to try to create an illusion. Oh yeah, I've healed. Oh, I've moved on. Oh yeah, that job sucked anyway. I went and got this other job. It's so much better. But they really haven't changed, and they didn't do this inner work, and they maybe didn't tell the truth, and they didn't deal with the truth, and they're still not going to deal with the truth, even about the things within themselves that manipulate them, and all the things in the world and people in their life that could manipulate them, or don't want to see the truth about the things that they make their life about, thinking those things will make them happy. And that's like living the dream life. And they're probably going to learn some hard lessons in life that If they're not speaking the truth, eventually the truth is illuminated. If they're not really being just and fair, eventually the truth is illuminated. If they think it's just and fair to backstab and betray people and act in immature, prideful ways, you know, people can get away with things for a long time, but eventually the truth comes out. We've read some newspaper articles about that over the last 2 years about some people who thought because they had a certain status and image in the world that they could get away with all sorts of shit and there would never be any repercussions. Well, that's some people who think are kind of full of themselves and think they're the boss, but they're not the boss. There are rules to this game of life. And that people could think, oh, if I have a certain status or image, or if this kind of blows up in my face and that didn't work out the way I wanted, I'll just go create an illusion and with someone else or whatever, and they just keep never dealing with the truth, and then in turn they never really grow up and mature themselves. And if they are more codependent, they keep staying codependent. If they keep giving in to their more immature indulgent nature, they keep giving in to their more immature indulgent nature. And other people see the truth, and eventually over time, when certain things keep happening over and over and over, you know more people become illuminated to the truth. And then you do this work to be inspired to not want to repeat that old pattern, and you do the work within yourself that could have made you stay in those relationships, get in those relationships, realize the truth that some people, because if you're not someone who wears a false mask and you are more authentic and loving and nurturing with people you get in relationships with, um, you just think everybody's motivated and inspired by love. And the fact is, we have to deal with the truth that in people's Gemini nature of their free will, which is what Gemini is about, for every person on this side motivated by love, there's equally probably as many people in the world, to whatever degree people are motivated by love and selfless and loving and balanced. There's other people on the opposite extreme that is like, nope, I'm not doing that. And we have to see the truth of it. And sometimes there are people that are in our family group, or people we wanted to marry, or people we did marry, or our children, or our parents, or people that we had been in long-term relationships that we had viewed as very nurturing and loving, and then sometimes I don't know, they can do something hurtful and unkind, or they just don't want to keep investing in the relationship anymore. And so high vibe people offer love to it so they can heal, kind of make peace with it. I'm not going to stay on my ego about it. Everybody has the free will to live their life the way they want it. I'm going to take the lessons I've learned from this life experience. I'm not going to give up my dreams, but I'm more inspired now to listen to my intuition about people. And as I move forward and meet people, and I'm going to invest in people who I think are being more authentic, who have learned some more lessons than some other people. Because high vibe, the opposite, if you are an emperor in the world, internally you'd be a high, uh, you'd be an empress. I'm going to listen to my intuition about who really is who they say they are, that I think harnesses high vibe Libra Taurus, because the Empress is high vibe Libra Taurus, who is more motivated and inspired, balanced within themselves, acts with character and integrity, and works together with people authentically because they're motivated and inspired by love, not people who are trying to create an illusion of that. And as I align with that within myself, I'm making good decisions in my life. I'm not taking action more out of pride and ego and lust and greed and self indulgence. I'm going and enjoying my life in the world, but I do it within balance, and I don't give those things that much importance in my life like they're the answer to my problems, because I know truth and love is the answer to my problems. And I can give myself that. I can offer it to other people. When people show me, nope, that's not my truth, I say, okay, wish you peace, and I move on. Where before I might have given people several chances. No, it's one thing to, I mean, I'm just saying how you get to know people. You probably already have enough people in your life that, they are neighbors or family members or coworkers. But new people, no, you kind of show me you're kind of shadowy, you're kind of immature, you're kind, self-indulgent. Yeah, thank you for showing me the truth of who you are. And I'm going to go focus on the people who aren't like that. And some of those people would be like, what? I thought loving people put a lot of work and effort to try to make me change and make the relationship balanced. I thought you liked that. It's like, I do like that, but I've learned I can only have balance in a relationship with other people who are willing to work with me in that way. And you showed me that's not your truth. And I'm not going to invest more time, energy, and effort. I might, you know, if I keep willing to work with you in that way, and then you show me that's not what you're willing to do, yeah, I'm not going to keep investing more time and energy in you than I have to. And I'm going to focus my time, energy, and effort on the people who I do think are more mature. And then as you're moving forward, other people that have went through similar experiences are going to want to invest in you. And people who want to invest in you and people that you meet to get to know them and listen to your intuition about who's who. And when someone shows you or your intuition tells you, nope, I don't think they are who they say they are, I'm going to listen to my intuition now and not stay stuck like, well, I don't know, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. And that's you and your two swords kind of going back and forth. It's like, I'm listening to my intuition. I can get to know people. I could get to know people for quite a long time, being willing to get to know them. And I can know people for a long time and they stay in the friend zone, and I don't have a more involved relationship with them. They're someone that I know or someone I work with or in the community, but I'm not going to get in a more involved relationship with them until I think the truth of who they are is clear, that they are a more emotionally stable, grounded, mature person. What is coming up for people who harness some high vibe Capricorn that they might not see coming? The Two of Wands and the Emperor, two Aries cards. So, and people, I also think in our worldly nature, Leo is also fire sign energy. For the first 30, 40 years of our life, we can be pretty caught up in these things of the world, and 50 and 60. But eventually, in our fire sign energy of self, we just can look at life differently. And some of those things that used to really kind of drive and motivate us don't anymore. We've just grown up and we look at life differently. And your dreams are going to change. You're going to be able to turn your back on some ways of being. A part of you could want to, but we always have that dualistic nature within ourselves, to our two Aries aspects of self. There's always a part of us, in a way, we'd like to stay in our comfort zone and repeat old patterns. But because you've done this work within yourself to take the lessons that you've learned in life, you're looking to the future and you have this dream. And you don't, even though there's a part of you that could want to repeat some old patterns, because of these lessons that you've learned and knowing your worth and value now and feeling more stable and confident in yourself and believing in yourself more, um, you're more focused on harnessing this energy in a high vibe way. And I think as you keep focusing, aligning with this energy within yourself, that's how you come in alignment with other people that are in that energy. And the people who keep not wanting to deal with the truth, who keep investing and repeating an old pattern, they're going, it's just like, I don't know. If you're acting more like a 21-year-old, but you're 28, right? You're probably going to end up hanging out with other people who are acting like 21-year-olds still, right? And getting in relationships with people like that. It's just a different, you're going to invest your time, energy, and effort into things that are more aligned with your truth. And as you do that, even if it's focusing on your career or whatever it could be, other than indulging a past pattern to feel better or something, you're going to end up finding other people that are more on the same page as you. And as you're moving forward in that way, other people know you could take action out of pride and ego and fear and insecurity and self indulgence. And they see that you're not doing it. And that's when other people see you doing that work and they know people who are doing that. They see you're not doing that. And they want to be in a relationship with people who aren't repeating this old pattern because they also aren't repeating that old pattern and they don't want to repeat that old pattern. So, what's coming up for some people? And it's just like, even if we looked at it as a job, because the pentacles can talk about that too. When we're working at a job or a place where something about it isn't right or it's not moving forward or there's not opportunities, when you love and believe in yourself, even though you could love the job and you hate to leave, and might be some people that you'll lose contact with, maybe even having, we don't really have it a card out here implying it, but say you had to move, so you're going to have to leave that behind, and that could be difficult. I think when you listen to your intuition and are living your truth and being more bold and brave and confident, I think that's when you're in alignment with high vibe energy at the big picture, kind of represented by God, of wanting to give birth to new things and alignment with your truth and your dreams. And I think that energy exists in the world to work with you, because we live in a world of duality where those forces, giving birth to something new or not, battle with each other, and we have the free will of what thoughts and emotions and actions that we choose to kind of channel through us or live through us. And I think when you're in alignment with the life-giving energy, from the two wands and the emperor holding the one wand, is taking action, believing in your dreams, and that's how your dreams come into reality. When we keep not wanting to take more bold, brave, confident action or living our authentic truth, we keep getting what we've always gotten. So what's coming up for the people who harness some more shadowy Capricorn energy that they don't see coming up? The Queen of Cups, the Three of Pentacles, and the Ten of Cups. The Queen of Cups can be where some people, what I think, when we're in more shadowy energy, high vibe Capricorn is about freeing yourself from the devil, because the devil's shadowy Capricorn energy. We all have to emotionally put in work and effort to free ourselves from things that manipulate us and see the truth. That these things that we might go invest in or indulge in or wallow within, or whatever it isn't making us happy. But we kind of don't want to see the truth of it, because then we'd have to change and we'd have to work through our fear and our insecurities and love ourselves, and you know and so I think some of the more worldly shadowy people emotionally, and it could be they just don't want to put in the work and effort that it takes to free themselves, or they don't want to see the truth, because both Virgo and the sun energy can talk about seeing the truth. They don't want to see the truth, and they might not want to work with their more self insightful, loving, authentic nature. I like living more from my mind than my heart and operating more from my ego. And they've decided that's what will make them happy. Well, they keep kind of repeating that pattern, and they probably have friends, family, and people in their life that would like to maybe marry them, be in a relationship with them, would like them to keep working at a job, But while the high vibe people in their life are offering them love and encouragement to work with them cooperatively, and the tens can talk about closing out a cycle, and the tens in the Ten of Swords can talk about closing out a cycle because the high vibe people want to go have this new beginning. That repeating this old pattern, you might think is just and fair, but other people find it emotionally unfulfilling. And some of the high vibe people in their life are going to, I think, tell them that though I love you and I would like to work together with you and I would like to be in a more long term relationship with you or have you keep working here, but I think we've invested enough time, energy, and effort to see that it's not working. You're kind of happy doing it this way. This isn't working for me. And so then from the Three of Pentacles to the Nine of Pentacles is taking back the Six of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy, which can talk about exchanging time, energy, and effort with each other. I'm going to take back the Six of Pentacles. I'm not going to keep exchanging time, energy, and effort with you. Because I have come to a place of peace about it. I see that your truth is different than my truth. And if that's what makes you happy and that's how you want to live your life, then go live your life that way. But this isn't my truth, and I am ready to move forward. And I've offered you truth and love and encouragement to work with me in that way. And if not, then I will work through it, and I will invest in believing in myself and believing in my dreams. But apparently my dream couldn't come into reality here because it can only come into reality with other people who are kind of on that same page, and we're apparently not on the same page. And they might be shocked because loving people generally can put a lot of work and effort to try to make a relationship work. And the shadowy people are counting on the loving people continuing to do that because they know that they love them and that they don't want to walk away from them. And they'd like it to work. That's like high vibe, Taurus energy, and Virgo energy, and all these other zodiac signs I talked about. And so they keep thinking, nope, nope, I'm not going to temper my ego. Nope, I'm unwilling to budge. Nope, I am not willing to invest more or be more authentic or work with them more cooperatively. I think what will make me happy is if they won't indulge me, I'll go find someone who will. And then that's what they go do. And I think ultimately they'll probably end up in relationships with people who are just like them, which is probably some of the people they already kind of align with. Other people who don't want to see the truth, other people who don't want to become more independent of an old way of living life or viewing life, unwilling to temper their ego, unwilling to be more independent. Let's make our life about these things or about me or about the world. I'm sure, isn't that what's most important? Won't that make me happy? So they're kind of like still caught up in the illusion, and they still have a lot of things that manipulate them. And high vibe people are going to work with people who are inspired to put in work and effort to keep growing and healing and maturing themselves and not letting things within themselves and outside of themselves that aren't just and fair and authentic and loving manipulate them. So there you go, Capricorn. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.